Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Otto's Garage. I've been looking at the rear calipers, trying to get the handbrake mechanism to work properly, and the general consensus on the integrale fans group is that the design is a bit poor and they can be a bit limited. Anyway, Evolution Steve got in touch and he has got a solution whereby we're going to fit a different caliper onto the back and use the original Lancia handbrake. So this is the standard setup, and this is the standard caliper that comes with your Delta or Prisma, whichever. However, what we're finding is that when you apply the handbrake on it, it just doesn't have the clamping resistance. So that's going to go, this disc is going to go, and we're going to basically take all of that off and replace it with a enhanced kit of a Mark IV Golf, basically. And that's coming off the R32 spec one, I think it is. So I've ordered a pair of new calipers, pair of discs, pads, and Evolution Steve has supplied me with a adapter solution that he's come up with. So what we'll do is we'll strip that down, have a look, and get it mounted up. Well, I've had some deliveries. There's a few boxes here. Let's just have a look inside and see what we've got. These are the parts that Evo Steve has sent to me. So these basically will modify the Golf caliper. So the Golf caliper can bolt on, and then it'll bolt onto the Lancia hub, basically. There's also a handbrake mechanism, which basically means that the original cables will work. You have to twiddle those around a bit. We'll have a look at those afterwards. This is obviously how the cable fits into there, but that all looks very nice. It's a nice bit of kit, that is. I like that. Thanks, Steve, for that. This is the Mark IV R32 Golf rear caliper. So I've got a pair of those, left and right, and obviously it's got all of the handbrake mechanism built into it. So that's supposed to be very efficient. And those came with the carrier as well. So that's to carry the obviously the caliper itself, but also into the pads, etc. A pair of discs. So these are Alpha Fiat Lancia front discs with the 4-hole, the standard PCD on it. They're vented, but obviously these are going on the back. They would normally be front discs, so this is basically upgrading the rear disc to accept front discs, and therefore it's a bigger kit. And then on the end there we've got some Mintex brake pads as well, which are for the Golf caliper. So that is all of the kit there. What I'm going to do is I am going to get a bit of paint on these calipers so that keeps them looking nice and fresh, and probably on the mounting plates as well from Steve. So that's the next stage, and then after that we'll have a look and see how it mounts up on the car. That's the various components laid out. So we've got our carriers here, our adapters which go from the Lancia to the Volkswagen caliper, basically makes them fit on the right place. And obviously we've got the pair of calipers here with the handbrake mechanism on them as well. What I'm going to do before I do anything else is give these a bit of paint, and obviously with them being brand new, they don't need sandblasting off or anything, but they are going to need wiping down. However, I do need to remove the Volkswagen handbrake mechanism anyway, and that is obviously going to be replaced by the kit that Evo Steve has sent me. So that's the first thing to do, is strip that down, get those parts off, and we'll have a look at getting them painted up. And there it is with the Volkswagen mechanism stripped off. So I'm going to get all of that masked up and then basically get some paint on it. And this is the colour that we're going to do them. Estoril blue, or what do they call it? They call it, yeah, it is Estoril blue. So this is specifically designed for going on calipers. So it's kind of like a enamel paint kind of thing. But you can just brush it on, which is simple enough. So I'll get those painted up and you can have a look at them and see what they come out like. This is the setup I've got at the moment on the back of the Prisma. Basically, we're looking at a standard integrale rear caliper, 8-valve caliper on there. I did have an uprated disc on it, but obviously that is going to go now. This is my hub-centric spacer for just pushing out the wheels, that extra 50mm basically. And you can see down there the handbrake cable. That's the original Lancia cable coming in, which we're going to reuse, and around the back there is our friend the handbrake stroke piston caliper. So that's what's going to be taken off. We're going to take the carrier off, the disc, all of that is going to go away. So let's do that, strip it down, see what we've got left with, and then we can start offering up the new parts. Well, that's the caliper off. I've just hung that on a bit of coat hanger just so we haven't got any pressure on that brake line at the moment. What I want to do is just take this disc off, and then we can have a look and see just what the difference in size is between that and this new disc. So this is the front disc of the Delta Prisma Integrale, and that's vented, and that is obviously going on the back. So let's see how big the other one is in comparison. Well, that says it all, doesn't it? So that's the original disc, although that's an upgraded rear, and this is the new front disc that we've got here. So basically we are looking at a massive difference in size on that. The other thing that you have got to bear in mind obviously is that that size disc may not fit under your standard 15-inch rims once you've got that caliper in place as well. So you may have to upgrade your wheel size as well to get that to work. I'm going to worry about that on this because I'm already running big wheels. The other thing that I've got to do, because this is a new disc fresh out of the box, is get some brake cleaner on it so that we haven't got that sticky oily surface which protects it from rust in storage. So I'll get a bit of brake cleaner, clean her up, and then we can pop it on the car. And there it is on the car. I've just temporarily put that on because I think it might be easier to put the brake caliper adapter plates on the back first. But you can certainly see that that is a decent sized disc. These are the rear brake carrier brackets, so they bolt onto the integrale hub, and then the R32 bolts onto those. I tend to paint these with high temperature aerosol basically, and the good thing about that is you can then get the blow lamp on it and you can kind of force dry it, which is great. It doesn't all flake off. So anyway, we can get those on the car and then we can see how that caliper is going to fit. Well, the paint's all gone off on those calipers now, and I've stripped back all of the masking that I put on there. That's quite a big job. It does take quite some time to get the masking in the right place, but you need to do that. Otherwise, those machine surfaces will become contaminated, and then you'll end up with sticking pads, pistons, etc., stuff like that. So get that all nice and clean. Let's have a look and see how she looks now. And then we can get them mounted on the car by means of the adapter through the handbrake caliper mounting bracket there. And obviously this holds the brake pads as well. So again, here we managed to keep all of these nice and clean, excuse me, in there. So that should give us free running. We want this surface to be good because that's where the pad is going to ride over the disc as it gets compressed each time. So just make sure they're all nice and clean. I'll get these built up and then we can have another look at them. I'm going to look at the right caliper first, okay, which has got an R on it. The left one obviously has an L on it. However, you've got to remember that this is going to go on the left-hand side of the Lancia. It's come off normally it would go on the right-hand side of the Volkswagen. So, anyway, we've previously removed all of the handbrake lever mechanisms from the front. We've got these items here, which was specifically for the right hand caliper. And when I say the right hand, I am referring to the Volkswagen right hand. Okay, so just forget about the switch over at a later date. So basically we've got a spring here, which is the original Volkswagen one. There's a locking nut, a countersunk Allen head threaded bolt there, and then these are the two brackets which replace the Volkswagen brackets that we removed earlier. So basically what you have to do is put the one with the conical machining on it there. That's going to fit on like so. That'll go into that position, and then we're going to use this grub screw to do that. I am going to use as well just a little bit of Loctite. Other brands are available, so we're going to lock that one in there just with a little dab of Loctite, and then this one will go over the top thus, and then basically then we've got to bolt it on with our little nut, and then we get into putting the spring on. So I'll mount it up and I'll show you at each stage exactly what's gone on where. And there it is. And what I used was just a pair of pliers. And if you get a hold of the spring kind of at this position here, you can just lever it in quite easily and it'll go back into there. And there she is. So that's that right hand one all made up. The only thing that we then need to do is make up the carriers by putting in the new glide pins in there with the dust caps and a bit of grease. So I need to get that done, and then basically we can get the other side made up and start to get them on the car. So there's the hub, and this would be where the original caliper mounted onto these two lugs here. So that's the old caliper hanging in the background. What we've got to do now is fit our adapter plate, and that has got some threaded ends on it, and you can probably just see those in there. So they've been pre-threaded. That's going to mount on the back and have two bolts which go in from this face. What I'm going to do is just put a little bit of our good old friend, the thread lock. We'll just get a bit of that onto them, and these are indeed the bolts that come with the kit with these washers. So they're going to go through here and bolt onto the plate on the back there. I'll get those mounted up and you can see what it looks like. There it is. So we've got our two bolts in there. I've given them a bit of thread lock, tightened them down. We've got our mounting plate now. The next thing we've got to do is put the disc on. So basically you have to put that plate on first, because otherwise you can't get access to these two bolts here. The other bolts, when the disc is on, come through the back into the caliper. So that plate on first, then the disc, then the caliper, the carrier for the caliper. Okay. And there's the disc. So I've just put a wheel lug nut in there just for the moment, just to hold that in place. So the next thing to do is get the carrier, which is this little puppy here, which we had before. That'll go over the disc and it'll bolt on from behind in that kind of situation there. So I'll get that round to the back. We can bolt through from that adapter plate, which you can see there, and the carrier will go in this side of it. And then that basically aligns everything again with the original position. The bolts that we're using on that to bolt the carrier onto the adapter plate, these are the ones that come with the kit. So they are a 8mm hex head, which will go into there, and then that'll be the correct size to tighten it all up. That's the carrier on, and you can just see the bolts at the back there. So the next thing to do basically is to get the brake pads in, and then we can put the caliper over the top. Before you fit the carrier onto the adapter plates on the back of the hub there, you've got to basically put the sliders in. So these are the kind of they give the adjustability, if you like, when you're making the braking. It can let the caliper slide around a little bit, and it's usually those things that seize up on an old caliper and then cause brake problems. But basically, get those in first. They come with their own grease. They'll be in a pack like this basically, and you've got a couple of new rubbers on there. And then when the caliper goes on, this part of the back of the slider is threaded. You can see those little threads in there, and you'll get new bolts, and basically the caliper then bolts into the back of the adjuster sliders. And that's Bob's your uncle and Fanny's your aunt. Brake pads, dead easy. They're all the same, and they just sit in there and locate on the carrier. Now what I am going to do is get a bit of grease just in here, where that slides on the side there, because obviously that's another area where it can seize. You just got to make sure you don't get any grease on the, obviously on the disc or the pad material, but a little bit of copper ease there will be great. So 4 points on each of the pads. Just one other thing, this nut here on the end of the slider, that's a 15mm, and then the bolt that goes in the back is a 13, so 2 spanner sizes to fit those on there. That'll just help you on that. But there it is, that's the finished item. I've just taken off the little stickers, these things here, they peel off these Mintex pads, and basically that is it all in position. And what a fine beast it looks too. So that's an easy way to go. The only thing that I've got to do now is obviously connect up the handbrake onto here from the original cable, which should go in nicely. And then this little bung's got to come out, and I've got to get a banjo slightly bigger to go into here. But otherwise, it's all good to go, and that should work nicely. So I'll get those connected up and we'll see how efficient that is. This is what we've been waiting for. So we've got a M12 by 1mm thread banjo bolt, copper washer on it, and that goes through the banjo. This will get fitted to the end of the existing PTFE stainless line that I've got, so I'll swap the end of it over. And then obviously it has another washer on the other side of the banjo before you put it into the caliper. So I'll get that put on the car, and then hopefully we can get it bled up and just see exactly what it looks like. These are readily available. I get these from Torque off eBay, and good quality stuff. That's all stainless, that is, and not stupidly expensive either. Well guys, I'm just getting the car ready for Chateau Impney for the coffee and chrome breakfast down there. But I had a bit of a problem with the power steering pump. You might have seen that on Facebook. It decided to, I think it was a pressure regulator in the pump itself, because of course it's got an electric pump on it. It ran high and it ended up blowing a hose off, but I've stripped that down, put it back together, got it back in the car. It seems to be working all right. I'm now going to take it out for a little drive, see if it actually runs those wheels. I've just driven the car around the industrial estate for the first time, and it all works. There's a few rattles and clunks underneath, as to be expected. I'll have to have a look and see what's going on there. But the beast is alive, and we are very pleased indeed after 5.5 years or something like that. Chateau Impney, here we come. Hi guys, we've made it to Chateau Impney. I managed to sneak in at the end of the day and get it in front of the chateau. Well, there it is, guys. First run out, and it's working pretty good. So I hope you enjoy what you've seen there. The handbrake system on it works brilliantly, although the brakes do need a bit of bedding in, but I'm sure that's going to come with time. Little teething problems, but you know, even on that first run, very pleased with how it's all come together. Hope you click to subscribe, share it about. Let's see what we can do with this car now I've actually got it built. Happy days. Stay safe. Tune in on the next episode of Otto's Garage. Bye bye now.
Bye bye.